Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Brakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and bishops of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Salutations to the beloved prophets and brothers. Continue to exhort the sheep in these last moments. The title of this epistle is going to be entitled Regime Change. Regime Change. As the current world that we live in continues to transition into a state of chaos and a dissolution of all things, including all systems that is found within, the kingdom of heaven will shortly come to pass and be established in the earth after all these prophetic things that are said to happen come to pass as well. So, regime change. The kingdom of heaven that will be established is going to be ruled and governed under the authority of chiefly the Messiah Yahweh Shai, which will also be governed by the 144,000 judges that will reign alongside our Messiah and reestablish the house of David, Bayat Dawada. So the regime change. The first book we'll go into is found in Isaiah chapter 2, and we'll start at verse 2 and read on down. It says, and it shall come in the last days. We are in the last days, according to prophecy and history and all these prophetic things that are now evidently in your face, lining up with scripture. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. Those mountains represent governing bodies, and hills, they can represent governmental establishments as well, underneath of the governing bodies. Verse 3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways. Because this current world does not operate in righteousness, keeping a well-balanced society with upright moral conduct. So there's going to be a regime change. In Ecclesiasticus, in your Apocrypha, also known as the Book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 4, it says, the power of the earth is in the hand of Yahweh, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. And in Job, we read that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked for a short time, and the wicked has rulership over the entire world right now, because there's a purpose for wickedness to rule, and ultimately is to bring forth the Most High Yahweh's will, and removing the wicked out of the earth. So as the current governing systems continue to operate in wickedness, the worshippers or followers, if you will, of that system will be collected together and ultimately cast into the fire. So the power of the earth is in the hand of Yahweh, and in due time he will set one that is profitable over it. Right? Verse 8 of Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So it's a great sifting. It's a great sifting process that ultimately will bring forth the new regime change, operating in righteousness, which is only found within the texts and within our scribes and prophets, starting with the 144,000 righteous men and judges that will govern alongside our Messiah, Yahweh Shai. This is where the kingdom will be set up at first and foremost. Um, let's continue in Isaiah chapter 2, verse 3. It says, "And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people." This means to convert them over to a state of righteousness, because many false religions are established in the world and created by the wicked for the sifting process ultimately. But those who have a desire to continue to grow in righteousness and put forth righteous fruits within their lives and to be taught within their family, they will be ultimately put in a category of preservation, if you will. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4, "And he will judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword again against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore." So the purposes of war is to ultimately, it's a purging process as well. And there's also a profit to be made within war. That's out of my realm of understanding. But there's a purpose for war. It ultimately does the heavy burden of lifting, purging out the rebels, and so on and so forth. So the regime change, no longer will we will be lifting up swords to fight, defend, or do any of that stuff, but we're turning into pruning hooks for agricultural purposes, self-sustainability for the earth and for our nation and other nations to come. Next chapter we'll go into the book of Zechariah. We're talking about regime change, the kingdom to come established in righteousness. Zechariah chapter 14. And we'll read from 16 on down. It says, "And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King of Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles." So some of you that are just coming into the understanding of keeping the Torah and the statutes and commands, we're also rehearsing the righteous acts of keeping the moeds and feast days and in their proper seasons. And this is going to be throughout all nations for them to observe the righteous acts of keeping these feasts as well. And it's not all of them. It's only 3 that they have to observe. And it's a show of obedience, if you will. It's a show of obedience and observances, because the nations that are also preserved after the wars, they also are preserved to be a help and a service unto the nation of Yasharallah, the 12 tribes of Israel. Ultimately, the nation of Israel, Yasharallah, the 12 tribes, governing the entire world and teaching them righteousness. So verse 17, "And it shall be that whosoever will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain." So those that refuse to serve or have an issue, if you will, with keeping the commands, they will not prosper in the kingdom as well. Rain, economic services, anything that we have to offer will be cut off and ultimately cause their demise, right? We can also read that in Isaiah chapter 60, we'll just deter real quick. Isaiah chapter 60 talks about the flourishing of the kingdom to come, established in righteousness under the governance of our nation. Isaiah chapter 60, we'll go there real quick. I don't want to deter too much. Isaiah chapter 60 talks about those nations that will not serve us will ultimately meet their demise, will hold back the rain, they will not flourish. So Isaiah chapter 60, starting at verse 10. And the sons of the strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy upon thee. And the Most High Yahweh is only going to show mercy unto chiefly the elect, the 12 tribes of Israel. We read that also in Isaiah chapter 14 verses 1 and 2, how the Most High will show mercy unto Jacob and have compassion on his people. But these other nations that were never given the law, statutes, and commandments in the first place to govern the world in righteousness, they will have to be sifted out as well. There's a purging process for them too, and those that are reserved after the said wars are going to reestablish us and build up our walls. And as you read in Isaiah chapter 60, they will bring forth their gifts and their economic services unto us. Everything will flow unto us, and then we can reestablish it how our governance sees fit. Verse 11 of Isaiah chapter 60. It says, therefore the gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day or night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, these other Gentile nations. And in this context, Gentile means other nations. In this context, Gentile does not mean that Israelite with a Gentile mind state that needs to come out from the other nations. So in this context, Gentile means other nations, those that are not of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and that their kings may be brought. For that nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Those that will not serve the 12 tribes of Israel, established in righteousness under the governing body of the 144,000 in Yahweh Shai, will ultimately not have any reign, and they will utterly be perished. I was back in Zechariah chapter 14, verses 18. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague, wherewith Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Right? Verse 19. This shall be the punishment of Egypt, and punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Right? Now, yes, it does say Egypt, but we are now in a spiritual Sodom and Egypt in the prophetic times, right? So everything that has happened in the past is set to happen in the future. It's all cyclical, and this is the second coming of Yahweh Shai, also known as falsely called Jesus. Verse 20 of Zechariah chapter 14. In that day shall there be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto Yahweh, and the pots in Yahweh's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and Judah shall be holiness unto Yahweh of hosts, and all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them, and seethe therein. And in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of Yahweh of hosts. Right. So he's going to eventually set over righteousness over the earth, and the powers that be that operate in wickedness will be removed. It's a whole new regime change after this hard purge, this transition that must come to pass as well. Next book we'll go into is Micah. Micah chapter 4. We're talking about regime change. Micah chapter 4, right here, verse 1 to 7. It says, but in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain, the governing body of the house of Yahweh, shall be established in the top of the mountains. It's going to be chiefly the reigning governing body over the entire earth. And it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, and the house of the power of Jacob, and he shall teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth out of Zion. We see this repeated twice, right? And the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. We read this. We read this in Isaiah, right? We're going down to verse 7. But they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid. For the mouth of Yahweh have spoken it. For the people will walk every one in the name of his God, and we will walk in the name of Yahweh, our power, forever and ever. These are judges and rulers set up over the lands to teach and operate in righteousness unto those nations. But we have our power to reverence, right? Yahweh. In that day, saith Yahweh, I will assemble her that halteth, and I will gather her that is driven out, and her that I have afflicted. He's talking about the outcast, the remnant of the 12 tribes of Israel. This is his bride, the one that was afflicted because of the curses being over the people, right? Verse 7, and I will make her that is halted a remnant, and her that was cast far off a strong nation. This coincides with the prophecy found in Ezekiel chapter 37, where he will bring back the northern and southern kingdom, again being one stick in his hand, and no more two nations, but one nation again, right? So a strong nation, and Yahweh shall reign over them in Mount Zion from henceforth, even forever. And thou, O tower of the flock, these are the priests, the elect men set up in this time to teach you the law, statutes, and commands, and bring forth prophecy, so you are being watchful of the timeline, prophetic events that are taking place, so that way you're locked in, right? And thou, O tower of the flock, the stronghold of the daughter of Zion, unto thee shall it come, even the first dominion, this is kingship, and kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem, right? Just like in her former glory days. Verse 9. I just want to make sure I'm staying on track here. Micah 1-7. Oh, I just went a little too far, but I hope that I drive home the point that the regime change is going to be established under the rulership of the house of David, the 144,000 elect, alongside Yahweh Shai. Next verse, we're going into the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 14. Zephaniah chapter 3 is an amazing chapter too, but we're going to pick up at verse 14. It says, Sing, O daughter of Zion, shout, O Yasharallah, be glad and rejoice with all the heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. Yahweh hath taken away thy judgments, he hath cast out thine enemy. The king of Yasharallah, even Yahweh, is in the midst of thee. Thou shalt not see evil any more. In that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, Fear thou not, and to Zion, let not thine hands be slack. And Yahweh thy Elohim is in the midst of thee, is mighty. He will save. He will rejoice over thee with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing. Because the Most High's purpose is to bring back the children of Israel, the 12 tribes, so they can govern the world in righteousness again, because it brings forth life. It brings forth a nurturing and healing. No longer the curse of death will be over the earth, which is the wicked, Esau, Edom, the sword, right? His sword. So this is the regime change, and the Most High, Yahweh, is rejoicing, and we will rejoice with him. We'll be married again together. Verse 18, I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly, who are of thee, to whom the reproach of it was a burden. Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halteth, and gather her that was driven out. And I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. Right. Everywhere our people have been dispersed throughout the four corners of earth, have bore that name of shame, and have been afflicted and oppressed under all nations, no matter where we have been sent to, right? And put to shame. Verse 20, and at that time will I bring you again, this again, a second time. I'll bring you again, even in that time that I gather you, for I will make you a name and a praise among all people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith Yahweh power. This is all 12 tribes coming back together and unified under the ordinances and statutes and commands established in the earth forever and ever by our power, Yahweh. Yahweh Shai, who will be reigning in the earth at this time. Next and final chapter, we will go into the book, the mighty book of Amos, chapter 9. Amos chapter 9, bloop, verse 14 and 15. It says, and this is the regime change, the regathering of the 12 tribes of Israel. And I will bring again, right, the captivity of my people of Yasharallah, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and drink of wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them, and I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled up out of their land, which I have given them, saith Yahweh power. This is a beautiful time to experience the words written within the Hebrew manuscripts for the 12 tribes of Israel to rejoice and to buckle up and to be girded up with the word, be spiritually armed, and have assurance, and that you are definitely being blessed to come into this ministry, come into this fold, to have that hopeful spirit of being grafted back into the covenant and to the tree of life. As we can see all these prophetic things that are coming to pass, there's but a few more prophecies left to show forth, and then the regathering after the hard purging process to purge out the rebels from within the 12 tribes of Israel, and then ultimately for all other nations to receive a portion of their judgments as well, for all these prophecies to come to pass and have the regime change taking place in the earth. So with that, I pray that this was helpful and edifying. Until the next time, Shalom.